All right, it is time for this week's edition of Matt Minich's Bengals Chalk Talk. I am Matt Minich. Let's get into this Bengals Cardinals game. Unfortunately, the Bengals lose again in heartbreaking fashion as they mounted a comeback late in the game, did some pretty good things, but just came up a bit short. So that's what we're going to focus on today is the last half of the fourth quarter and that late comeback that they mounted. Now, the scene was set for this by my least favorite play. If you follow me, you know that I think that toss out of shotgun is the stupidest play there is. It defeats the purpose of running toss to run out of shotgun, uh, and the Bengals gave up a big long score in it. So um, that's embarrassing. Let's put it that way, because I think it's a stupid play. I've explained it to offensive coordinators who run it, college offensive coordinators who run it, and then after I said that, they've been like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you mean." So I'm not alone in this, you know. But they gave up that score, and that set the tone, put them down 14 points with 7 minutes and 7 seconds left in the game. That is where they took over. And now, here's the thing. I think people are always overwhelmed by comebacks, and they think, we got to score now. We got to score now. And you hear that. You hear commentators on TV hear somebody's down. You're like, oh, well, they're taking too much time. But you got to think about the big picture and how long does it normally take you to score touchdowns. That's something that, as a coach, you want to get a pace for during the game about how long drives are lasting, and that gives you an idea if you get into this situation of about how much time you need. So right now they're down by 2 scores, and there's 7 minutes and 7 seconds remaining in the game. So not ideal. All right, that gives you about 3.5 minutes to score, per touchdown. So you have to score every 3.5 minutes is the way you want to break that down. You shouldn't be thinking we got to get a quick score here so we can come back and we have 6 minutes. No, you want to pace it out, and you got to play some defense. That's what it comes down to. So 7 minutes and 7 seconds. The Bengals, need to be thinking we got to score in 3.5 minutes. We got to get the ball back, and we got to score in another 3.5 minutes. So they came out initially in a 3-by-1 formation. So they had a bunch to the left, Dalton in the shotgun with a running back on his right, and a receiver split out to the right, a single receiver to the right, and that was on Tate. So the Bengals got things going right away with a quick little out to Tate. All right, quick little out. Not taking, getting the ball out quickly, picking up 9 yards. Getting things moving, getting things going along. Now it's a quick pass, so it didn't require them to have great pass protection, but they were doing all right. John Jerry was getting pushed back a little bit, getting out-muscled from the left tackle position, but overall they did all right. That brought up 2nd and 10 on the Bengals' 30-yard line. Now here they had a bunch formation and a tight end on the right. All right, bunch formation to the left, tight end on the right, and Dalton under center with a single back behind him. All right, so they do a couple of interesting things here. Very interesting screenplay that they did. They send the first bunch man in motion, or the tightest bunch guy in motion. Fake jet sweep there, fake handoff to Mixon, and the widest outside receiver comes high for a fake reverse as well. And Dalton didn't actually put his hand out or anything, but that's what the idea is to draw the defense in that way. And then they throw the screen back to Dalton. Back to Mixon from Dalton. They do a good job on this, and they're getting out the guards and center to block. So Jordan, Hopkins, and John Miller all getting out there to block. Mixon makes the catch, gets out there open in space. Now, I think he's getting a little too cute trying to help John Miller set up his block. And I think he should really just take it to the outside. He's getting a great block from Hopkins on the outside. All right, great block from Hopkins. And in my opinion, he should just stick with that, keep it out wide, and kind of start to fade off, away into the sunset, and probably ends up getting pushed out of bounds at some point. But when he cuts back in, he doesn't have much else. But, when all is said and done, it's a 16-yard gain. That's a good play, moving those chains. That gives them 1st and 10 after that, nearing midfield. All right, so on the 46-yard line. So now, again, we're saying, hey, you want to score every 3.5 minutes. Well, they're moving the ball pretty well, so they can use a little bit of clock. So now they get about to the 50, and they run the ball with Mixon. They have a bunch formation on the right with a wing H-back player. They have one wide receiver to the left. He's pretty tight, though. They send their widest receiver in motion, loop or swipe Uzama over to the side to block, and it's really just an inside zone play. All right, they're blocking inside zone to the right. All right, and the tight end, who's in an H-back position, Uzama, swipes across to block the end man on the line of scrimmage. All right, so decent little run by Mixon. He picks up 6 yards, gives him 2nd and 4. All right, clock's ticking a little bit. That's all right. You got to relax in these situations. You can't score all at once. Nobody's got a play that scores 15 points. You gotta chill with it. So 2nd and 4 on the 48. All right, now they come out with 2 receivers stacked on the top. To the left. Dalton is in the shotgun with Mixon to his right, and they've got an H-back and wide receiver who is split out to the right. All right. Now they run kind of a levels concept. They've got 3 different levels going. They've got a shorter receiver, kind of a couple of different levels of dig route essentially behind him. They end up going to the shorter receiver, who is Damian Willis. So, Willis makes the catch. Right, he comes across. The Cardinals defender kind of runs by him. He hitches up. Dalton delivers. It's right in front of his face. A real short pass. But hey, they can be short passes. You want to rack them, right? You want to rack up yards, run after the catch, and that's what Willis does, and he's able to turn it into a good gain, a 12-yard gain. Overall, the offensive line here, not looking too bad. We're going to get a slide to the left, all right, on the left-hand side, and then we're in man protection on the right. So Hart's, got nothing coming to him. He gets some help right away with Uzama, who chips, right? So that helps out Hart, and he's able to get his block at the left tackle position. Jerry is pass setting, kind of getting wide. Is able to force that guy to go around. Not doing a great job, but able to force that guy deep enough that he can't have any kind of impact. So that brings up 1st and 10 on the 36-yard line. So now they're starting to close in a little bit. There's 4 minutes and 55 seconds left, and they come out in a trips formation with 3 receivers spread out to the left side of the formation. All right, and again, we have got the tight end. He's in a 2-point stance, though, but we've got a tight end on the right. Dalton's got a running back to his right. So, again, we're going to get a slide protection here. We'll start with the protection. All right. Sliding to the left. All right. You got Uzama on the edge. He's going to release, but not before he gets a chip. That's going to help out Mixon, who's going over in that direction. Hart is stepping inside. He's got a player walked up on the line of scrimmage right up next to him, so he's got that. So all in all, the protection here, not terrible. We do have a guy coming on a twist who was able to get some penetration. Excuse me, not a twist. The linebacker kind of loops around. He's able to get a little bit of penetration. John Miller adjusts and picks it up, dishes his guy off to Hopkins. But that guy is able to get a little penetration. On the left side, you've got John Jerry on the outside doing a pretty good job. All right. And then inside of him, Michael Jordan struggles. All right, they give up there's a pass rush move, a little swipe underneath there by that defender, and he is able to get some penetration, kind of starting to close in on Dalton, and gets a hit on Dalton. This ball is thrown deep. They take a deep shot to Boyd. Boyd is not happy. He does get a little caught up with the defender. He wants an interference call or a holding or something, but they're not getting it. So that stops the clock with the incomplete pass and gives them 2nd and 10 on the 36-yard line with 4 minutes and 50 seconds left to play. All right, so just to check, remember we said we're about 3.5 minutes. So we're about a minute and a half away from there, and they're inside the 40. Bunch to the left, tight end on the right in a 3-point stance. Dalton is in the shotgun with a running back to his left. All right, now we get another pass. All right, Dalton throws it off to Boyd. Boyd is really just kind of come inside and hitched up over the middle. All right, the linebackers are playing up tight. All right, so the linebacker gets kind of sucked up by the out-releasing route and doesn't drop off. All right, so he's eyeballing that guy lower, and that is actually Damian Willis lower. So that prevents him from dropping off. So, a little high-low action here. Dalton sees that guy playing low, hits Boyd. That's a 13-yard gain and moving the sticks. So looking at the protection on that play, this is coming out quick. And coming out quick is smart, especially when you have problems with protection. They are sending some heat. And it's a good thing that it does come out quick because they are sending, 6 guys on this play. And it's overwhelming. It's more than the Bengals are able to handle. So they do bring pressure. And really, where does that pressure come from? The guy that ends up getting in there and impacting it is coming from the right side. And what happens is initially John Miller, I almost called him John Mayer. That's not funny at all. John Miller doesn't have anybody. All right. And then as he sees, he gets two defensive players stunning into his gap, right, blitzing into his gap, and he has one coming to his inside gap and one coming to his outside. Now the guy coming to his outside is the first guy he sees, so he kind of reaches out his arm, and that's the guy he's trying to pick up. And you want to judge this: who's most dangerous? And generally, most dangerous is the tighter, the guy who's closer to the quarterback because he's tighter. But since that guy is coming first, that's who Miller picks up. Now, Mixon gets over there real quick. He sees that blitz coming. He's got blitz pickup responsibility, and he comes across. But he is also going for that same guy Miller is. They both kind of lose that second guy. So that, whether they can't see him, Mixon being over aggressive doesn't see it, whatever it is. So they lose that guy. So, it comes down to what they're being taught and how to adjust to something like this in the protection, whose fault it actually is. I would definitely blame Mixon because he's the second level defender that kind of needs to be able to see that and adjust that because he has more space. But this could also be on Miller, like I said, kind of depending on what he's being taught, what the requisite adjustments are for him to make in this particular scenario. So either way, because it's a quick pass, smart play call, good job, they get the ball off, and that is a 13-yard gain. So we have 1st and 10 on the 23-yard line with 4:24 to play in the game. Bunch formation to the right, including an H-back, and a one wide receiver split wide to the left. Dalton is in the shotgun with a running back to his left. All right, and what are we going to do here? We're just going to get the ball off real fast. All right, again, let's keep moving it. So hitting another quick little out route. So they hit a quick little out to Damian Willis. That's getting them 9 yards and getting them into 2nd and 1. Again, it's coming out so quick, so the protection doesn't matter that much. But here it looks actually pretty good. Gio Bernard is the running back. He gets a little chip, helping out John Jerry. That's good. They need to help out these tackles with chip blocks from tight ends, running backs, H-backs, anybody they can, whenever they can. So definitely good to see more of that this week. That is going to be a huge help. That gets them to 4 minutes and 19 seconds left in the game, 2nd and 1 on the 14-yard line. This is an empty formation. They've got really everybody's tight. So it's a bunch of 3 receivers to the left and 2 receivers really bunched in as well to the right. When I say bunch, I mean 3 receivers, but these guys are tight and compressed in much the same way as you have with a bunch. Again, let's get the ball off fast. Now, one of those 2 receivers on the bottom, the inside guy, is actually Giovanni Bernard. They need to be playing Bernard more out of the backfield, lined up at receiver. Great to see them doing it, in particular with AJ out, with John Ross out, and with some of these receivers struggling to get separation. They need to use Gio more out there. He runs a quick out, and, the vertical release and, eventual, kind of hitching up of the receiver outside. I'm actually tight end CJ Uzama. That kind of creates a bit of a natural pick situation that makes it hard for that defense to get to him real fast. But it gets him the first down, all right? So it opens him up just enough to get him the first down, and he gets out of bounds on that. So now they picked up 4 yards, 1st and 10 on the 10, and he's out of bounds, and they're stopping the clock, all right? 4:16 when the ball is snapped again. They have 1st and 10 on the 10-yard line. Trips formation to the left with the running back on that side, and Dalton's in the shotgun, and there is a receiver spread out to Dalton's right. So the receiver spread out to the right is actually tight end CJ Uzama spread out wide. What do? Another quick little out, right? Get to the out. He gets tackled, but he gets out of bounds, picks up 8 yards, and now it's 2nd and 2. 2nd and 2 with only 4 minutes and 11 seconds left in the game. So again, these last few plays, they haven't used much time. All right, they're snapping it, they're completing it, they're moving the chains, and they're not wasting a lot of time. So really 8 seconds has gone by between those plays. So good job there, and it gets them to 2nd and 2 on the goal line. All right, 2nd and 2 down on the 2. Now they've got 2 receivers spread out to the left, and a H-back up to the left as well. And they've got 1 receiver, it's Auden Tate, spread out wide to the right. Giovanni Bernard is beside Dalton, who's in the shotgun, and he is to the right to that single receiver side. So now I can't tell for sure if they are reading this. All right, if this is not truly an RPO, it is coming from the same place. Theoretically, it's the same. It's the same idea here. So what they do is really it's man anyway, but there's a couple linebackers that can help out in the middle of the field. And because of this run action to Giovanni Bernard, those linebackers are getting sucked in. All right, they're not all linebackers, but they're a linebacker depth. All right, so those players are getting sucked in. So now it's truly a man-to-man setup here for these receivers. Now Tate does a great job. All right, he does a little shuffle to the outside, really selling that outside release. And the way he's lined up tight like that, this would be a great situation. A big, tall receiver like Tate to throw a fade in the corner of the end zone. He's given himself some room by playing tight like that. So that's got to be in the back of that corner's head, especially because that corner's not a good matchup in a jump ball situation for Tate. So he's probably a little worried about that. A little self-conscious perhaps about it. Now Tate sets that up, gets that corner to jump to the outside, and then takes it straight up the field towards the goalpost. Easy pass. All right, great route, good setup with the action, and an easy pass for the touchdown. 4 minutes and 8 seconds on the clock when they scored the touchdown. The extra point puts them down by 7. So excellent job on that series, using the clock properly, getting down the field. So very good job. Remember, all they had to do, score every 3.5 minutes. All right, they scored in just under Yep, just under 3 minutes. All right, 2 minutes and 59 seconds on that possession. So good job with that. The ball goes back to the Cardinals. All right, the Cardinals have a delay of game inexplicably on first down. That puts them into 1st and 15. Not a good situation. Really puts them in a position where it's tougher for them to try and run. You think they're going to try and use the clock a little bit. They're going to try and move the chains, get a couple first downs and play keep away with this Bengals offense. But because they end up in first down, it makes that tough on them. They come out in an empty formation. All right. So empty formation. The Bengals have a too high look, 4 down linemen, and really they're spread out across, matching up with these receivers. Now, a little bit of foreshadowing here. They don't have a linebacker in the box, truly. Preston Brown's kind of on the edge. I believe that's Nick Vigil on the bottom. He's kind of on the edge as well. Nobody's truly in the box because they're matching up with these receivers, and they have 4 players rushing the quarterback and 2 deep field safeties. So they've run out of players. There's no 12th man that they can stick in the middle of the field there. So foreshadowing, that's going to be bad later. But for this play, the Cardinals are going to run a quick screen out to the receiver in the top. All right, it's the number 2 receiver. So they take their number 3 receiver and try and block on Webb. But hey, Preston Brown's getting out there and making the tackle. That's the guy that was lined up on that number 3 receiver. He reacts quickly. He gets out there. They do gain 5 yards in the play. And that brings up 2nd and 10. So 2nd and 10, 4 minutes left. The Bengals burned their first time out real quick, and preserving that clock. And the Cardinals come out. It's essentially a 2-back look. They've got like a deep H-back / fullback kind of guy, kind of on the fringe area there. So call him what you will, but he's essentially lined up in the backfield. He's to Murray's right, along with 2 receivers, and then Murray has 1 receiver to his left, and the back. He's in the shotgun with a back to his left. So they do a quick little play action, and really, the Bengals are doing a good job rushing the quarterback here. They send a little heat. They've got Fedgedelum coming off. I added a syllable there. Excuse me. All right, Fedgedelum's coming off the edge. He gets picked up by David Johnson. Now, Preston Brown is in man coverage. All right. He's covering Johnson, so that's why he comes in like this delayed blitz, because Johnson's blocking, so now he's going to blitz. So, Fedge is getting some pressure on that, but now because Brown's looping around, he is unaccounted for. So he is really free to the quarterback. He just doesn't quite get there. But he does force the ball to come out quick. All right. And because it does, Murray throws it low. All right. Kirkpatrick is doing a good job in coverage here. He's right where he needs to be. That ball comes out low, and the receiver doesn't have any chance at it. So that brings up 3rd and 10. An incomplete pass stops the clock, of course. So 3rd and 10 on the 25, 3 minutes and 56 seconds to play. The Cardinals come out in a shotgun. They've got a tight end to their left and trips to their right. The running back is to the trips side. All right. Once again, they're really collapsing this pocket. So the Bengals do a good job of putting pressure. It's a 5-man pressure. All right. So they are sending their defensive line. They've got pretty speedy little look in here with Hubbard at the nose tackle. They've got Lawson on one edge. They've got Dunlap on another. They've got Gino in there, and then they're looping around Laurie Reynolds, linebacker, as well. So bringing a 5-man pressure, and this is an athletic group on the field for this pressure. Nice little substitution package. Now, B.W. Webb matches up here with Fitzpatrick. He struggled in the first half with him, started to play a little bit better in the second, and this is a great play. He matches up on him, all right? He's coming across the formation, pressure. Where is Murray going to look? Of course he's going to look to Fitzpatrick, right? The route kind of dictates that. But also, wouldn't you go to Fitzpatrick? I mean, that guy's going to be a Hall of Famer. So he goes to Fitzpatrick, all right? And Webb does a great job coming underneath, getting that left hand. That's that off hand. All right, so the on hand is the right hand. That's the hand that's closest to Fitzgerald. That's the one he wants to think about making a tackle with. But he wants to use that off hand, that left hand, to come across in front and make a play on the ball. That's what he does. It's a great job, and it gets the stop, gets them off the field, and gives this Bengals offense a chance. So that play, huge play, really kept things alive for the Bengals and forced the Cardinals to punt. And because the Cardinals threw 2 incompletions, the Bengals only used 1 timeout. So now the Bengals get the ball back. 3 minutes and 41 seconds. Remember, initially we said they got to score every 3.5 minutes? Well, they got 10 seconds to spare now. So 3 minutes and 41 seconds on the clock. The Bengals get the ball on the 19-yard line, and it is 1st and 10. So they come out initially in an empty set with 2 receivers split to the left, 3 receivers to the right, and your man, Andy Dalton, in the shotgun. So first things first, let's look at the protection here, all right? What kind of protection are they getting? Because in empty, you're putting the defense in a bind with a lot of things, but if they decide to bring heat, you don't have much to pick it up. So they don't bring the heat here. You know, they've got a few guys standing up, not really sure what's coming. 4 men come, and we've got good protection. All right, good job all around. You know, if anybody's getting pushed back, it's hard, but, you know, overall not too bad. Dalton's got to feel good. He's got to feel poised in there. Now, Tyler Boyd is the number 3 receiver, all right, or the third from the outside on the right-hand side of the formation. All right, so he's lined up pretty tight in there. Now, he does a great job. He's got man coverage, and he stems it to the outside. He really runs right at that defender and, boom, sticks a foot in the ground to the outside, right? Kind of selling like he's going to take an outside cut. And he gets that player to open his hips just a little bit, right? Ever so slightly opening his hips. And that makes all the difference in the world, all right? Just like we saw with Tate. And he is wide open on this. That guy, you know, kind of dives and tries to make a tackle on it, but he gets up the field. So 29-yard gain on 1st down. So huge way to start this drive. Now, remember on the last drive, they got to about midfield, and what they do? They started to chill. They started to slow it down a little bit and use some clock. And that's what they do here. All right, now they're thinking, well, we don't want to score too fast. They mix it up a little bit. You know, they come out right away. It's like a trips look to the right with 1 receiver to the left, and Dalton is under center. But they motion in Uzama, who was the widest receiver, and now they're actually in a bunch look with Uzama lined up as an H-back. All right? So kind of a 2-point stance. When I say he's as an H-back, I'm saying it because not only because of his tight alignment, because he's in like a square stance where it looks like he could be blocking, not like a true receiver stance where his feet are staggered and it looks like he's just going for speed on the release. So they take their number 1 receiver, the widest outside receiver, Willis, set him in jet motion. And then they're just running a zone play here to Gio Bernard. So everybody's running zone to the right. Uzama swipes across the backfield and kicks out the end player on the line of scrimmage. And Bernard takes it upfield, and he's able to gain 9 yards on that. So nice little gain on the run play. Now, they're not going crazy working the clock here. There's going to be 2 minutes and 30 seconds left when they snap this ball. They don't seem to be in a hurry, but they're also not letting the play clock go down inside 5 seconds or anything. They're snapping the ball with around 10 to 15 seconds. So, at this point, they probably in the next couple of plays could have gotten inside of the 2-minute warning. They don't do that. And you understand why, because this is a team that has had trouble scoring, particularly in the red zone. So they might need this time. Just because they're moving the ball, they might need that time later on. So it's people always talk about score too fast. We have to score, and especially a team like this that has struggled to score and struggled to do things they needed to do when they needed to do them. It's really, really hard to play that game. So they come out, and now it's 2nd and 1, and they've got trips to the left, and that's where Bernard is, and the shotgun to the left of Dalton as well, and a single receiver spread out to the right side. So once again, we're getting a run. So Bernard actually only picks up a yard here, but it is enough for the first down. So it's a zone, and actually a zone read. Not blocking the end man in the line of scrimmage here. Dalton's looking at him. He ends up giving it. Kind of a muddied read, and that can happen from time to time because the guy is stepping down, but he's not turning and running. Now, I once heard Chip Kelly talk, and Chip Kelly describes. He says it's not a read. He says it's an unless. He wants his quarterback to give the ball unless that guy's going to make the tackle. So he didn't think that guy can make the tackle on Bernard. He gives it. That guy does end up getting involved in the tackle. But whatever. It's first down. They're moving along. The next play is going to be snapped with 2:03. Like I said, not a huge sense of urgency, which I think is okay. Bunch to the right, single receiver to the left. Dalton is under center with the back behind him. Now, this is essentially the play that the Bengals got burned on for a quick touchdown in the third quarter last week against the Steelers. So it's going to look a little familiar. And what they do is it is a massive protection. They leave the running back in. They leave the H-back tight end in, that number 3 guy in the bunch. They leave him in. And they leave the widest receiver in to block. So they actually have Auden Tate coming in from that bunch and helping out on the edge rusher. So I was talking about how they needed to do more to help out their offensive line last week. They're getting creative. They're doing some things. They're leaving that guy in. So I appreciate that. Gio is helping out on the left-hand side. They're sliding everybody to the left. It looks pretty good. They've got Uzama and Tate, they're helping out on the edge on the right-hand side. So, you don't have to worry about Uzama on a defensive end like we had last week. You don't have to worry about Bobby Hart on a defensive end like we always worry about. And he's able to slide in and help out with some other stuff. So very good protection. Now, what they do on this route, going back to the route, there's only 2 players left, right? So 5 down linemen, running back stays in, 1 receiver and 1 tight end stay in. It's 8 guys. The quarterback makes 9. So that's a 2-man route. So it's a single high safety. And what they're going to do is that receiver on the left is running like a deep dig route coming across. All right. I believe it's Willis. So he's running a dig route coming across, and that gets the safety to bite. NFL safeties, I don't know. It seems like it's really crazy this year that are they looking to jump those dig routes and forgetting that there's like always a post coming behind it. And, it's been happening a lot. And I think they're being taught to play that route, but I struggle with it because stay deeper than the deepest. Realize when something's coming short or something's going to be coming deeper. So that's what happens here. He bites on that. He gets sucked in over to that side. And, of course, there's a post coming back. And Boyd is wide open for a 42-yard touchdown. Bullock's extra point ties the game. So huge. This is great for the Bengals. Now, it's the 2-minute warning now. So did they score too fast? Well, they had to score. And they had to take that shot. And if they methodically work their way downfield, history of this season tells us they weren't going to get in the end zone because they're not very good at getting in the end zone. So 2 minutes left. They have tied the game. They had a great defensive outing the last time around. They've got to hold the Cardinals one more time. Now, here's the issue, all right? They come out and they gave up the drive, all right? So we all know how it ended. We're not going to look at every single play from that drive. I'm going to look at the 2 plays that really mattered from that drive, okay? There are 2 plays, on each of which they gained 24 yards. So these two plays accounted for 48 of the 67 yards that the Cardinals gained before kicking the game-winning field goal. Spoiler alert there, my bad. So the majority of those yards were on two plays. And I talked a little bit, I foreshadowed it a little bit for you before. It is the empty formation. So empty puts you in a bind. Empty makes life tough on defenses. That's why it's a good thing to run. And it's especially bad when you have an athletic quarterback, which I believe I talked about previewing this game last week. But I digress. So they come out, and they're not actually in empty, all right? So they have trips formation, trips to the right, single receiver to the left, then David Johnson motions out of the backfield. The Bengals have a one-high look, and Nick Vigil comes out of the box to match up with David Johnson in what appears to be a cover one look, one high safety and man-to-man. So Vigil, number one, this is a mismatch, all right? This stinks for the Bengals, all right? This is not the matchup you want on David Johnson. And then Vigil makes a mistake. So we talk about pressing receivers. We talk about hitting receivers, banging them at the line of scrimmage, jamming them. There's good and a bad with that, okay? What happens to Vigil here is he gets his hands on him, and it helps Johnson to gain separation. You want to disrupt their release on the line of scrimmage. Vigil is 4 yards off the line of scrimmage and pushes Johnson away. So your jam can't push them away. You want to be on them like glue. Pushing them away is allowing that guy to get separation. So Vigil's able to recover from that. Johnson takes an outside release. They loft up really a nice ball on the sideline, pops right in there. Safeties come over to help, but he's the deep middle player. Like, what is he going to do on that ball on the sideline deep? Other than push it out of bounds. Now this ball comes flying out. I'm not an official, and here's my thing is, being a guy that coached forever, I don't care. Like, we're moving on. When you look at the tight copy that they showed on the game, it looked like he got a couple steps in, and this one it kind of looks like he got a couple steps in too. So tough call, sucks. Wish it would have gone our way. The ball definitely, looked like it was going flying out from the wide, but not the way we went. Obla life goes on. We gotta keep moving, and you can't be complaining about that stuff. And that's why I have that mindset so much. You really can't be complaining about that stuff, worrying about that stuff. We've got to be worried about the next play. That is what it is all about. So now coming out, 2 plays later, it's 2nd and 6. All right, so they've gained some good yardage. Now they are on the 39-yard line. So you add 17 to that. All right, and that's 56. That's a 56-yard field goal from there. So just a little bit out of range. 56, doable, but not somewhere you want to be kicking it from. Not want to be trying it from. The odds are not in your favor in that situation. So they come out. It's 2nd and 6. They come out in an empty look. This time it's trips up to the right, 2 receivers to the left. Actually, that's what it was last time too. Now, the Bengals come out like they had previously, not on the previous clip, but on the previous drive, with 2 high safeties. As we talked about, 2 high safeties, 4 men rushing the quarterback, 5 guys matched up on those receivers. That leaves nobody in the middle of the field. There are no linebackers in the box. So all these guys, all right, are focused on coverage. Nobody is in the box. And when you have a mobile quarterback, that's no good. So everybody at linebacker depth is out of the box, is focused on a receiver. And now, they're focused on that. The safeties are playing deep. Now, and I want to point this out. Let me take one quick step back. So the last time it was empty, and they threw a ball on the sideline. Couldn't really get any help for the guy there because it was a deep middle safety. Now you go to two high safeties, they're able to play on that ball. All right, it's still tough on the sideline, but in this sort of defense, when you're playing, like a man under, like a 2-man sort of defense, the safeties are responsible for really helping outside and deep. So, they're able to help out on that. So they're accounting for what they got hurt on the last time. But we took players out of the box. And those safeties are the only guys reading the quarterback. Everybody else is focused on their man. So Murray takes off. No linebackers there. He works his way upfield. The safeties react. They come up, but it's too late. Great hustle here by Fedgelum. He's the guy that Fedgelum. Jeez, man, adding syllables to that name all day. Hey, great hustle here to make that play, but it's a 24-yard gain. And worse, it is now 1st and 10 on the 15-yard line. The Cardinals have 39 seconds to play. They're going to run the ball and set themselves up and down into the 13-yard line, kick that field goal. So those two plays and adjusting, matching up to empty are what got them. That's what hurt them on this drive, and that was the difference in the game for the Bengals. All right, so I'm sure everybody's having great fun watching Cardinals film. So we're going to watch some more Cardinals film as we preview the Baltimore Ravens. So this is week 2. And I want to talk a little bit about the Ravens like to come out in these loaded back sets with 3 backs and Lamar Jackson in the backfield. So in this particular case, they have got Gus Edwards lined up deep. They've got the fullback to Jackson's left. Jackson's in the shotgun. And they've got their tight end, Boyle, to his right. So they like to get in this formation. They'll run a lot of zone read out of this look, out of this loaded backfield look. We did see a little bit of that previewing the Cardinals as well, actually. So, what that is, essentially, the line is blocking the zone. And it's that tight zone with the cutback that we've seen quite a bit of. And we've seen quite a bit of out of the 49ers in that game in particular. So where Lamar is actually turning really away from the zone and opening it up. So they run zone to the right, but the back goes to the left, and they're reading the end man in the line of scrimmage. All right. So one of the backs loops around out wide to block for Jackson if he keeps it. The other comes in, all right, and is looking to pick up linebackers flowing into that area. All right, so reading the end man on the line of scrimmage. Who is that? That's this guy. So the end man on the line of scrimmage, if he stays wide, Jackson gives the ball. So that's what happens on this one. Jackson gives it, and Gus Edwards turns it into a 4-yard gain. Now, in this the third quarter of that very same game, they motioned into that heavy backfield, that loaded backfield set. This time it was Ingram at the running back. They had Hayden Hurst and Boyle in the backfield on either side of Jackson. Hurst motioned in. He lined up as a receiver, motions into that set. So he releases out wide. He's blocking for Jackson, and they're running the zone in the other direction. All right. They're running the zone in the other direction with Boyle coming around, again, looking to pick up any kind of linebacker, any kind of cutback player on that. Now, this time, the end man on the line of scrimmage bends in, all right? And he doesn't tackle him, but he gets his hands on him. He wraps up Ingram. So Jackson makes the right read. Jackson stays out wide, keeps the ball and takes off out wide, he's got a lead blocker out there in front of him, and he's able to pick up 9 yards in this play. So again, this is the dangers of having an athletic quarterback. So very good job there, and definitely something the Bengals need to watch out for. They've had a lot of trouble with the run game, and Lamar Jackson, just like Kyler Murray, provides another real opportunity, to put it kindly, for them there. That's somebody else that they have to be aware of, who can do some really big time things for them. Now, the other component of this, so we see a lot of zone read. We also see a good amount of power. And I think it's funny, the Ravens over the summer, the word was that they were going to revolutionize football and do this brand new stuff that nobody had ever seen. I mean, they're running power out of the shotgun and reading stuff. I mean, it's pretty much what the 49ers were doing with what Harbaugh's brother was doing with the 49ers when Kaepernick was there at the beginning of this decade. So that's essentially what they're doing. Here, though, we're going to get a look. This is a power play. All right. So on the power play that they ran earlier in that game against the Cardinals, they had a tight end. They motioned a guy across. He's actually the fullback, but he's lined up as a receiver. They motioned him across to kick out. And then, the way power works is you've got a tight end fullback, kicking out on the edge, and then you've got your line on the play side is blocking down. They leave the declared Mike, all right, that play side backer unblocked, and the left guard will do, in this case, because there's a power to the right, the left guard, the backside guard will kick step, or sorry, he'll pull around, all right, he'll kick pull, and he'll look to lead up on that linebacker. All right, so the difference, skip pull, that road wrong, excuse me. So the difference between a hinge pull and a skip pull, and the idea with the skip pull is it's a tighter play, and you're looking to keep your eyes down the field, or the hinge pull, like you're really turning and opening up and running down the sideline. He wants to get upfield, so it's really just a skip pull on this one. So that's how the power play works. And they give to Ingram on this one in the first quarter against the Cardinals, and Ingram gained 16 yards on that play. So definitely a big time play for them. And power is something that can hurt. It can get a lot of bodies in there and really take advantage of you, get you on a track and get your guys moving. So in week 4 against the Browns, we're going to take a look at a quarterback power. And again, something that we see quite a bit of if you look back to what the 49ers were doing at the beginning of this decade. And let me get to it here. So this is in the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter just started. It's 3rd and 5. So this is a third down. This is a situation most people are passing. They got Jackson. They're cool. They're cool running the ball. They know what they got to do. They can make some plays. It's a spread look. They've got 2 receivers on either side of the formation, and you can see them. Teams will run this with a jet sweep. But what they do is they just align their running back out wide, and that's where that mesh is going to be. He has the option to give that, and if the defensive end to the right, where the power is going, crashes down, because they don't have a real strong force to kick him out with there. If he crashes down, they'll give to the running back. But this guy actually gets out wide. All right, he gets out wide. He's playing real wide. So Jackson keeps it. And again, it's the same thing. It's just a quarterback power now. So what are they going to do? They're gonna block it down, and they're going to pull around that backside guard. Jackson's going to follow him right up the hole. So Jackson is able to gain 7 yards on that. So that's a really really good play for them. So Jackson can throw the ball around, right? So the run game is something that the Bengals have had to worry about all year. It's been a major problem for them. Kyler Murray gave them fits last week as a running quarterback. Lamar Jackson probably going to do the same. All right, Lamar Jackson's going to be an issue for them. So they have to be aware of these things. They'll also do some misdirection. They'll do some play action off of these things. They'll do some triple option stuff off of the zone read. So they're going to have to be really sound and really disciplined in their run defense, and also just run, rally to the ball. When something breaks, they're going to have to figure it out. Do your job and then run to the ball. That's what it really comes down to. Jackson can make some plays in the pass game too. With Marquise Brown, if he is going, not sure at the time I'm recording this if he is or not. There's some injury concerns about him, but great athlete. And that is a real connection that they've got with those guys. So first couple of weeks looked very, very good. The last few weeks, Jackson has thrown too many picks. So there could be some opportunities there. But if he can really lock in, make some good decisions, be accurate with the ball, and get this running game going, I mean, this is a team on the verge. They are just about to take off. So as usual, hey, Bengals, don't be that guy. Don't be the team that lets them take off on you. So that is going to be it for this week's Bengals Chalk Talk. I will be back next week and every week. Remember, this is available Thursday evening, just in time for your Friday morning commute every week. And listen to the podcast, in your car. If that's what you do, that's what I do. But also realize that if you go to Facebook, you go to YouTube, you can find the video as well. So that may make things a little bit clearer and kind of explain things for you. On the podcast version, if you are watching on YouTube, on the podcast version, we have different guests. So, make sure you tune in. Always try and get somebody that knows a little something about what is going on with the team that the Bengals are facing this week. Once again, Matt Minich for the Bengals Chalk Talk here on Orange and Black Insider. Go Bengals. See you next week.